Oh my God, do. Somebody please say it ain't so. I didn't notice the striking resemblance between Biggie's mom and Angie Stone until these rumors came out about Diddy allegedly trying to sacrifice Biggie's mom and accidentally sacrificing Angie Stone in the process. All of this took place within the same month, right before his trial, and both of these women had a whole lot to say about Diddy.
Secrets that I have endured over the years. Nothing to hurt anyone else. With that being said, I would advise you not to log in 30 minutes for no mess, because that's something they pull together. Just like they told y'all I was a dead girl and I'm very much alive. It's because they're looking for numbers and they want you to pay for that information. Why you got to pay for it and I'm giving it to you? For all of you that want to hear some juicy stuff, give me a thumbs up. At hand is P. Diddy. I'll take you all the way back to the early 2000s when P. Diddy had just become an intern at Uptown Records, which was housed in MCA Music, which was where I just happened to have a publishing deal as an MCA songwriter. Woo! Can we get into it, guys? Unfortunately, what I have to say in revealing what I witnessed in that time period was a very young Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs, that had really been busting his chops.
Oh my God, do. These YN hitmen don't respect the game. They don't know the difference between Biggie's mother and Angie Stone. Diddy allegedly put the hit out because Miss Wallace was running her mouth about information she knew about Faith Evans, Biggie Smalls, Suge Knight, and everybody else that was involved with the murder of her son. Angie Stone got a son named Swaybo Twain, who big just like Biggie, so people thinking that this is some type of multiverse going on here to where Angie Stone and Biggie's mother died within the same month. But if you listen to what Biggie's mother had to say about Diddy, it correlates with everything that Angie Stone had to say about him as well.
I cried so much that day. Just listen to the music. I remember I sat, I stood, I rested my head on the stereo, and I just cried like a baby. And that was therapy for me. And I said, oh my God, that was a talented young man to put those words together. And he had a beautiful voice. I love his voice and the way he came off. You know, I appreciated him as an artist and as my son.
So before she passed, Miss Voletta Wallace was a mother carrying a lifetime of pain and a mountain of unanswered questions concerning her son Biggie. I mean, they say time heals all wounds, but how do you heal from losing your only son? Especially when the people closest to him might have had something to do with how he died. And yes, when I say closest to Biggie, I'm talking about Diddy. Allegedly, Diddy even tried to silence Voletta a few times because she was getting too close to the truth.
And Big was showing me a contract because I was saying to Big, Big was like, yo, Gene, I like you. I would take you with me, bruh, but you love that too much. I said, love that much? What the fuck you? I love it too much. He said, yeah, you love him too much, bruh. I would take you with me. I said, nigga, how you gonna take me with you and you broke? He said, I'm broke. I said, yeah, broke, man. You owe Mike Gadget $30,000 for the system and them drop boxes he put in your truck. And he was like, yo, how you know that? I said, talk and run their mouth, Big. Yo, he said, oh. He said, but I'm about to get this money. So he showed me, I said, you about to get that money? He said, yeah, look at this. It had Charlie Baltimore, Cameron, Little C's, Little Kim, Junior Mafia, Tracy, I don't know, Tracy Murray?
Tracy Lee.
Tracy Lee. Tracy Lee. And the commission. And I think the contract was for so many years for like 62 million. It comes out to like $62 million. I was like, that's what I said. I'm like, damn.
But we all know that Mama Wallace wasn't the kind of woman to be silenced, especially when it came to her son. And behind the scenes, other than Diddy, there was someone else she allegedly never quite trusted, Faith Evans.
You married Biggie when you wanted Tupac. That's hilarious. You wanted Grammys, but you settled for ghostwriting for a whore like Mary J. Blige. That's hilarious.
Child, with the details of the trial hitting us every single day, word on the street is that we may soon get closure about what really happened to Biggie and how Diddy and Faith were involved. Sadly, Mama Wallace will not be here to see that day, but it will still be worth something if the truth is finally revealed, right? Okay, one thing we can all agree on that has been made clear over the years is that Biggie was planning to leave Bad Boy and Diddy was not about to let him go without a fight. In fact, in that expose that Rolling Stone did on Diddy, several people said Biggie and Diddy were never on good terms, and he pressured Bad Boy employees to focus on marketing and album sales for Biggie's release, Life After Death, after Biggie died. Like, he was not even grieving and was obsessed with the album being #1. Apparently, Diddy also still tried to steal Biggie's shine after his death, and there's an incident that was narrated by Kirk Burroughs claiming that Rolling Stone approached Bad Boy with the opportunity for Biggie's legacy, but instead, Diddy wanted the spot. Kirk said he was telling Diddy, let's make it Biggie. You still have a chance for a cover in the future. But Diddy responded, no, he's dead. I'm putting out Combs' debut album, No Way Out, in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. So that's how Diddy ended up on the 1997 cover of the publication titled Puff Daddy, the new king of hip hop. The Rolling Stone article also highlighted that 2 years after the cover dropped, Diddy did an interview with them where he admitted that Biggie's death brought them so much money when he told them, I think his passing added to the fame. At least 2 million of the nearly 5 million copies of No Way Out sold were due to his death, straight up. And that doesn't necessarily feel good, but that's the reality. Kirk Burroughs also shared that Diddy had a certain jealousy for Biggie's friendship with Tupac before they started feuding. Apparently, Diddy wanted a friendship with Pac, but Tupac wasn't interested because he didn't have any kind of respect for Diddy. In fact, the assumption is that Diddy was the one who initiated the beef, because Kirk also said that Diddy is the one who pushed Biggie to write beefy songs. He even released Biggie's single Who Shot Ya in 1995 because he knew that it would be viewed as a jab at Tupac. Now, based on what I've heard, this is something that Biggie's mother allegedly also knew. Like, she always knew that Tupac and Biggie loved each other, and the feud was forced on them. You see, the thing about Biggie's mom is that she was certain that her son was mistreated and even unalived, and she made her thoughts known numerous times. For starters, in her 2005 book, Biggie, Voletta Wallace Remembers Her Son Christopher, she wrote, the truth is, Christopher accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured my son with. That was a lot of money for Christopher back then as a 19-year-old. He had never seen that much at one time in his life. It was enough money to make my son believe that Puffy was ready to do anything for him. It was enough to buy a blind love and loyalty. In addition, she also specifically said that she was convinced the LAPD conspired to keep the details of what happened to her son hidden during an exclusive with Daily Mail, where she talked about how every single day was just painful for her and the rest of the family. She said, it hurts me every single day to know what happened to Christopher and that I won't see him ever again. And it's not just me that is devastated. His sister Tiana hurts every day because of his loss. As a family, we've collectively grieved, and it doesn't ever get any better for us. Any mother who has lost a child knows exactly the devastation I feel. It's the worst pain in the world, and one that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. He was so young, so talented, and his life was taken far too soon. It's unnecessary that Christopher lost his life at just 24. He was my baby, and I think about him every day. When it comes to the anniversary of the passing of his death, I don't really like to talk about it. I know there will be a few tributes in honor of Christopher, and that's great he's still remembered, but it's very tough for me and my family. Based on what she said, the LAPD detectives who investigated the case know who was responsible for her son's death, but a conspiracy prevents the case from ever being solved. She said she knew the LAPD did their investigation and found out what happened, but they just refused to move forward, and she didn't know why they had not arrested who was involved. According to Voletta, she said it seemed to her that it was one giant giant conspiracy, and someone was definitely being protected. In her words, quote, "I have a very good idea who unalived Christopher, and I genuinely believe that the LAPD know exactly who did too. They've done their investigation, but they just refuse to move forward. I don't know why they haven't arrested who was involved. It seems to me that it's one giant conspiracy and someone is definitely being protected somewhere down the line. There's no closure for me until that person is behind bars and sentenced. That may give me some closure to grab onto, but it sure won't ever bring my son back." Other than this, she also talked about agreeing to be a part of the project City of Lies, which centers around the corruption involved suppressing the investigation. And she actually opened up more about the corruption involved and said, "I have strong hope that I don't care that it takes 40 years for the truth just for somebody to be accountable for what they did. Those in high positions try to put the case on the shelf and not let the truth come out. They do not want to expose these police officers for the crooks they are. You know, all they wanted was to save their retirement. They didn't want to ruffle their feathers. They didn't want people from the East Coast to come over. They did everything they could under the real investigation to put it on the shelf." She even said that she agreed to participate in City of Lies, not only to honor Biggie's music, but for Russell Poole, who died in the middle of the investigation. And about Russell, she also said, "I hope and pray that the truth would expose them individually. Russell died exposing them. He was a man of his word. His wife said he died of a broken heart because he didn't see justice. All he saw was corruption and pure lies. Everything was hidden." In a different interview, Voletta also told Entertainment Weekly, "As long as I have life, there's hope. I'll never give up. And I hope when I'm not in this world anymore, my friends and family will carry on the fight. There is always hope." Well, even with Voletta saying all these things about her son's death while not mentioning any names, the general assumption was that Diddy was responsible because Biggie wanted to leave Bad Boy. Of course, she wasn't blind to the rumors, and she heard what people were saying about how Biggie was fighting for his rights and the whispers that maybe, just maybe, Diddy knew something or even played a part in setting Biggie up.
So my whole thing about it is that it was somebody in our crew that wanted them to know that Big was in that vehicle. And to separate it, that's where you get there was more than one people trying to kill us. You understand?
You're right.
That's where you get that at, brother. That there was more than one, different people was trying to kill us. Because somebody wanted to know, yo, if y'all gonna get big, here go the car with the stickers on it.
But you know what? It goes even deeper than this because Diddy was obviously not working alone. And the assumption is that Faith Evans knew exactly what happened to Biggie, which is why Faith has been out here defending Diddy when it comes to Biggie's death.
What I know is that Puff would never have Big. Puff would never be involved in one of his best friends. Mm-hmm. That's outside of him being his artist. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That was like, their relationship was something that I don't have that relationship with Puff. So, that's never been something that I...
Of course, it's ridiculous that she would say Biggie and Diddy were basically besties when everyone else said the opposite, which makes us wonder, what exactly does she know? We even had Jaguar Wright calling out Faith for being one of the biggest snakes in Biggie's life. According to Jaguar, Faith wasn't exactly head over heels for Biggie like she made it seem, because she actually wanted Tupac and not Biggie. Yeah, she said Faith married Biggie, but her heart was somewhere else entirely. In fact, according to what Jag insinuated, Faith didn't know whether she was carrying Tupac or Biggie's child because she was hooking up with both of them at the same time. But it doesn't stop there. Jaguar also alleges that two people who worked at Death Row actually caught Tupac and Faith in the studio together, and they even took pictures of Tupac and Faith getting down and dirty in the booth. Now, imagine being Biggie's mom, Voletta Wallace, watching all this unfold. I mean, it must have been devastating for her. And Jaguar Wright even believes that Voletta would have definitely preferred Lil' Kim over Faith as a daughter-in-law because she allegedly knew that Faith was working against her son. Well, about whether Mama Wallace actually confronted Faith, I don't know. But what I can tell you for a fact is that she knew her son was unalived. And if Diddy really tried to silence her, and that's why she couldn't mention his name, then it's even more messed up than we imagined. Well, like I said, this may come up in trial.
Oh my God, do. Somebody let me know in the comment section. Do y'all feel like Diddy unalived Biggie's mother? And does her death have something to do with Angie Stone's death? Seeing that they passed within the same month, just right before the Diddy trial, it's some scary stuff going on in Hollywood. I hate to break it to y'all like this, but everything you heard in this video is alleged allegations and speculations. It's a whole lot of spooky details that we got to talk about in the comment section, so y'all let me know down below how y'all feel about it. I want to give a special shout out to Angie Stone, Miss Wallace, and all the people out there that lost a parent, mother or father. We all getting old out here. We just got to stay prayed up. Got so much love for y'all, man. Make sure y'all do me a favor. Hit that like button. Leave a comment in the comment section below. And best believe I'm going to see y'all real soon. For y'all beautiful ladies out there, y'all already know I risk my motherfucking life. Risk my life to give you documentations, girl. I risk my life to give you documentations, girl. I risk my life to give you documentations, girl. I risk my life to give you documentations, girl.